We're rolling.
Hey, yeah, my name is Earley Story. What I'm trying to relay is back on my issue with the Shelby County Sheriff Department. I was a sergeant there. I got hired in 1981. They called it the Glamour Slammer then. I was one of the first to be hired in the new jail. While employed there, it was a nice job, political but nice. But as time went by, the gang culture came and took over the jail. We didn't have enough officers to handle the problem, but we handled it the best way we could. Gradually, the gangs and the violence got very, very bad. And the badder the gang activity got, seemed like the administration got less concerned about the activities that were going on. It got so bad that I decided to write down everything that transpired. 1988 being a good example where it was violence erupted through the tactical squad came and jumped on a lot of inmates, beat them up very badly. But they didn't go by the right way that we supposed to discipline inmates. Instead of disciplining the inmates that caused the disturbance, the tax squad came in and beat everybody very badly. Now, if we as jailers, which I was always trained to do, if we was wrong for brutality dealing with an inmate, well, we could go to prison. And so when I found out that they were wrong and they were constantly getting by with it, because after they come in and create a disturbance, the inmates will be hostile towards us. And so I decided, me and some other guys went to the NAACP and testified against our own department about brutality. While we testified in federal court, Judge Jerome Turner was the judge. And when we testified against our very own department, it was some bruised feelings. The administration got very angry at the one that testified against the department. Judge Jerome Turner, however, warned the Shelby County Sheriff Department. Sheriff Gillis was the chief deputy, then Jack Owen was the sheriff. But at any rate, Judge Jerome Turner warned the Sheriff Department, said, well, because of these young men testifying against their own department, I want to warn you all not to retaliate against these men for their testimony. And I felt kind of relieved after the judge said that in 1988 or 89. But shortly thereafter, matter of fact, a little over a year, the retaliation started. And I knew that I had to walk the straight and narrow. So I started keeping records of everything that I did while on my tour of duty. If somebody got raped, jumped on, or physically harmed, I'd write a report. I had to be right or else, they had a witch hunt off my job. And so it was some incidents that was so violent that every time that I would write a report and take it to Internal Affairs, they would be very hostile towards me. And I could tell that they had put me in a position where I was labeled as an enemy, as a snitch. And so they just didn't like me. and it was very hard doing my job. But the residents, the inmates, knew me to be a fair officer. And so they would continually come to me when it was a problem or if they felt threatened. And I would put them in protective custody. And this was going on long as I was there. 1997, January 1997, the administration finally figured a way to get me out of the jail. On January the 31st, the Shelby County Sheriff's Department came to my home and arrested me. I asked them why were they arresting me. This guy, Lieutenant Dunlap, said, you're being indicted for drugs. I told him, no, it's gotta be a mistake. That didn't do any good. They arrested me, took me to Unpopular. And so I didn't know really what was going on. They set me a bond at $10,000. After I made the bond, I never will forget, I went home and me and my wife were laying in bed and we were trying to figure out what had just transpired. And while we was talking, all of a sudden the news came on. And they had breaking news. The Sheriff's Department just had a great big drug bust. The names are very sketchy now, but one name we're hearing is a Sergeant Earley Story. And I was really dumbfounded as to why the news was broadcasting this. And so I didn't have no knowledge of what was going on and how to navigate through this false arrest. And so I immediately retained a lawyer to fight these false charges. And before we went to our preliminary hearing, my lawyer was telling me, because they charged myself along with two other guys, myself, a guy by the name of Bernard Kimmons and Victor Campbell. And they charged us also with 3 civilians. One of them was a juvenile named E.T.N. Harmon. Another guy named Archie Anderson. And another guy named was Dante Dale. And so because I'm knowing of the false arrest, we were going to court, and after I told my lawyer about the false arrest, finally we had a preliminary hearing. In Judge Ann Pugh courtroom. That was April the 3rd, 1997. Well, during that hearing, the Sheriff's Department sent a guy by the name of Detective Carl Harrison. He was supposed to have been the one that was overseeing the alleged drug transaction. Well, Detective Harrison, took the stand and gave testimony before Judge Ann Pugh that an undercover agent had sold marijuana to me on 3 occasions. He accused me of January 9th, 1997, January 15th, 1997, with a juvenile on January 15th, and January 22nd with a man by the name of Dante Dale. And so after he made that accusation, was nobody there to testify. The undercover agent was not there. And so Judge Ann Pugh, after listening to all the testimony, dismissed the case due to lack of probable cause. right after Judge Ann Pugh dismissed charges, the two, one of the guys by the name of Dr. Dale came up to me, and he said, "You know, I just wanted to know who you were because I don't know nothing about none of this." And so I'm free now, though. The judge wrote to be restored to back to your normal business. I didn't have no charges hanging over me. But I had already filed a EEOC complaint to get my job back. And so I'm continually, I couldn't get a lawyer to represent me, so I had to do everything by myself. Although I'm free, I've been charged, had been charged with a crime, been set free, and so now I'm ready to get my job back. Yeah, I had a civil service hearing, and I need to really go back to one point. While I was employed on I think it was in 1995. 1995, I came on duty and working on the second floor. While I was working, an inmate came up to me and said, "Sergeant," he said, "this man named Stewart, he won't get up to eat his breakfast." And so I went to the cell block. When I went to the cell block, Stewart was barely talking, had dried up blood on him. And I told my officer to open up the cell block. When he opened up the cell block, I saw that this man was very ill, almost to death. And immediately I called my supervisors, called a hospital unit. And they came and got Stewart. I took pictures of Stewart and the bloody clothes for evidence. Stewart had been attacked by another inmate. The officer that was supposed to, because this was maybe about 10 o'clock when I discovered him. The officer that was supposed to have discovered him on his early morning head count didn't discover him, so I had to charge the officer with neglect because he did not find him on morning head count. I knew I had to do that because they would have charged me because I was being watched. And so Stewart died from his injuries. And so after Stewart died, and this was such a violent incident, I was wondering why the Internal Affairs didn't never call me over to ask me questions concerning his death, since I was the one that discovered him. They never would interview me. And so right then I decided that they was, I had to cover my interests. So I took the reports concerning Stewart. His real name was Mickey Gregory. But I took the information, the write-up that I had, my officer to write at least, and I took it and gave it to a Memphis lawyer. This lawyer I gave it to, name was Steve Leffler. Leffler wound up filing a lawsuit, $10 million lawsuit for the estate of Gerald Gregory, aka Mickey, aka Stewart, Gregory Stewart, that was aka. And so I'm still employed, working real hard, trying to walk the straight and narrow. The next incident I think noticeable happened also in 1995. This guy by the name of Steve Goodwin. Goodwin was a male white. And my assignment oftentimes was on the second floor. But I came on duty one morning. My office, the control center, it was right in front of the suicide tank. And my custom was, when I came on, I would get the inmates out, put them on clothes, let them get their exercise, and communicate with them. I noticed Steve wasn't a normal person that normally come in K-Pod. And so I asked him, I said, why are you in suicide precaution? And what floor were you from? Steve told me that he came from the 4th floor K-Pod. Now 4th floor D-Pod. And when he said that, I knew that was a very bad pod. And so I started talking to Steve. I said, well, why you try to kill yourself? He said, I wasn't trying to kill myself. He said, he explained everything that happened. He said he was in the pod with cell block. And several guys came in to give him cigarettes and trying to be his friend. And so they was talking. He said, all of a sudden, one of the guys came in sitting next to him and started soliciting him. Asked him as if he was weak, asked him to perform oral sex on him. Steve said, hey, he said, I ain't no punk. He said, I ain't no punk. He said, no, I don't do that. And when he said that, several other guys came in. He said, the guys hit him. And he said they raped him. He said it was 3 of them raped him. 2 of them held him down. And they raped him very bad. And he said they poured something into his rectum to wash away the evidence. And he said after he got raped, he wanted to get out the cell block, but he didn't know how. And so he got a sheet, tied it around his head, and when he saw the officer making a round, played like he was going to commit suicide. The officer saw him with the sheet, got angry, got him out the cell block, got angry at him, didn't ask him no question, took him down to the doctor and told the doctor that he was trying to commit suicide. I believe the officer was so hostile towards him that the guy, Steve Goodwin, wouldn't even tell him about the rape. This happened on July the 1st, 1995. But as a matter of fact, I got that report today. And so when I came on in the morning of July the 2nd, and I saw Steve, I got him out and asked him what part he was in, and he just confessed and told me about the rape. I wrote up a report about the rape, and I called my supervisors and sent Steve, and after I sent him to the doctor, they sent him to the rape crisis center, to be tested for the rape. After that, I noticed that internal affairs, they normally talk to the officers whenever it's a violent rape or a fight, but they didn't call me. They did not interview me at all. And so I figured that they were watching me and they were trying to get me to slip. And so the information concerning Steve Goodwin's rape, I took it to a Memphis attorney by the name of Richard Fields. Richard Fields. So Richard Fields and several others, they started this lawsuit against the county for the violence that was going on. So now I have 2 very bad serious cases. One ended up in death with Gerald Gregory. Well, concerning Goodwin, I gave the information to Attorney Richard Fields, who I had testified in federal court before, which against AC Guinness in 1988. Fields took my information, and I also turned the information on to Internal Affairs, but Internal Affairs, of course, did not never respond or interview me. And so, but the violence was so bad that the rumors were they getting ready to start a federal investigation into the activities of the violence inside the Shelby County Jail. And it was so violent, so I wanted to be one of the officers that had material to present to the officers, to present to the court, to clarify the violence that was going on in the jail. And I had to keep records to cover myself. But when I got arrested in January 31st, 1997, I didn't have, a chance because I was in jail. And so when they started the lawsuit, the Little versus Shelby County, they would not use me because of this arrest. So after reporting all this information to Steve Goodwin and about Steve Goodwin and the rapes and the violence, when I went to my preliminary hearing, when they arrested me for the drug charge, and I went to court, Judge Ann Pugh dismissed the case. After she dismissed it due to lack of proper cause, I thought I would get my job back. But that wouldn't happen. And so I had to get a lawyer to file my court case in federal court. And I couldn't find a lawyer in Memphis to even take my case, although I was set free. And so I had to file within the federal court, pro se, because you had a 90-day limit. After I made my time to file within federal court, all of a sudden, in my civil service hearing coming up, I needed a lawyer. And so the court granted me a lawyer. His name was Steve Leffler, because Steve Leffler was one of the lawyers that I gave information to about the guy that died, Gerald Gregory. So Leffler took responsibility in handling my court case. As soon as Leffler signed on as being my attorney, he signed on in June of 1997. As soon as he signed to represent me, the Shelby County Sheriff Department rearrested me on the same charges that was dismissed. And I had to start going back through the same process again. Now, I was free. Instead of them getting my job back, they trumped up and arrested me again. And so, Attorney Leffler, after my arrest, I had two cases going on simultaneously. I had my civil case going on and a criminal case now. Both of them were going on simultaneously. And so I asked my attorney, Steve Leffler, why and how could they arrest me when I had a civil case starting? I asked him why wouldn't he make an issue of retaliation? Because of course, like I said, I hadn't sold no drugs or anything. he really did not give me a definitive answer. And so I had to start going through the same process of going to court. I was going to the my civil trial, civil litigation, and my criminal litigation were going on at the same time. I'm totally confused, you know, and this lasted for until 1998. 1998, I got tired of the many court dates. I approached Leffler and asked him why that, he wouldn't pursue this matter. And I remember a guy by the name of a CI by the name of Alfredo Shaw. Alfredo Shaw was constantly talking about how corrupt the sheriff department was. This CI Shaw, he was a witness in the Tony Carruthers and this graveyard situation. But Shaw felt that he was going to be retaliated for being a witness in this case. And so Shaw thought that some kind of way that he might get killed inside the jail. I didn't know whether he was talking about threat from Carruthers and them or the Shelby County District Attorney General's office. But all I knew, he wanted protection. And so Shaw put it in writing that he wanted to be protected. And so I took that letter that he gave me and gave the letter to Harold Hayes. Harold Hayes was working at the Germantown Police Department. I gave that letter to him, said this man's claim that a sealed envelope, that his life is in danger. That letter, now while I was still employed, that letter winded up some kind of way in that trial, in the Carruthers trial. When that, because Shaw told me that himself. He came in, he said, you know the letter that I gave you to mail for me? He said, they brought it up in court. In some kind of way, the sheriff department said, somehow officials of the sheriff department got angry about that letter. And so that was another reason I believe motivated them to frame me. Attorney Leffler, I asked Attorney Leffler why couldn't I have a trial date? Why is everybody seeming to avoid exposing the Shelby County Sheriff Department? He wasn't giving me no information, wasn't communicating with me. And so I went to the Tennessee Board of Professional Responsibility, filed a complaint on him. After I filed that complaint against Attorney Leffler, the entire legal community in Memphis turned against me. No matter whatever lawyer that I would get, they were hostile towards me. It would not pursue justice on my behalf. I started to write the Justice Department, various news media, trying to get somebody to look into the situation. Knowing that I could not get a lawyer in Memphis. And so I wanted to show how much work that I've done. All of this here, These are letters. These are the letters that in 20 years worth of letters trying to prove my innocence. All of that, all these certified letters. This is to John Herberson. This is Attorney Rosenblum, John Herberson, Attorney Steve Leffler. This here, 160, this is Judge Bacala, United States District Court. Court of Criminal Appeal. I'm doing this here frantically, trying to get relief all over the United States. This is all the money I amassed. And I could not, because I know when nobody listened to me. This is to the Commercial Appeal, Susan Thorpe. United States Court of Appeal, Cincinnati. Department of Workforce, County Commissioner Henry Brooks. Everybody and anybody that would listen to me, Tennessee Board of Professional Responsibility. The reason I show you this is because it's a problem. And anybody that's trying to seek justice in Shelby County, once they blackball you, it's over with. It's over with. It's totally over with. The lawyers, in my opinion, for all that, the lawyers are more fearful of keeping their jobs than working for their defendants, their clients. In my opinion, and I believe I got evidence, in my opinion, the justice system is so broken in Shelby County that justice for an innocent person is very, very hard. The Tennessee District Attorney General, the Shelby County Attorney General, they are concerned with winning. They are not concerned with justice. You know, I read that the prosecution got a higher responsibility than the defense. A defense supposed to represent their clients to the best of their ability, to the best of their ability. But a prosecution is not a servant of the police department. The prosecution is a servant of the people. They supposed to seek truth, irregardless where it's at. But in Shelby County, they want to win the Super Bowl. They looking at how many cases they win. They don't care about innocent. They don't care as long as they can suppress your evidence and get a victory. They don't care about nobody. If they did, they would have investigated my claims about Etienne Harmon and all these other guys that were framed. After I saw that it was no win, that all the attorneys were turning against me, and I did not have the money to keep on fighting, I decided to represent myself the best way I possibly can. I know they said he who represented himself got himself a fool for a client, but and I have no choice. Because I had paid a Nashville lawyer $10,000 on direct appeal after I got convicted on the one count. After I paid John Herbert $10,000 and lost, I filed appeal on my own, a post-conviction appeal. My post-conviction winded up. The first hearing I went to was in Judge Carolyn Blackett's courtroom to answer my appeal. When I went in Carolyn Blackett's courtroom, when I first walked in there, Judge Blackett called my name, and she said, Mr. Story, where's your attorney? I said, Miss Blackett, Judge, I don't have an attorney. She said, I want you to sit on the front row. I'm gonna call a recess. You sit on the front row, and I'm gonna send this lawyer to talk to you. So I went and sit on the front row. It was about 20 people inside the courtroom. This lawyer came, sit on one side of me, on the left side of me, and another lawyer sit on the left side of me. And this lawyer, the black lawyer on the right side, the white lawyer on the left. The white lawyer asked me, he said, tell me about your case. And I, briefly as I could, I told him that I had got railroaded, and they said they were gonna put me on probation, but they said the probation people said I'm not on probation. And so, but I'm still without a job, and I'm still fighting. The guy got angry and told me, wait a minute now. He said, I didn't ask you that. In a very nasty tone. I said, wait a minute, hold up now. I'm not gonna let you talk to me any kind of way. I ain't no boy. He looked at me and said, I ain't no boy either. And we got to arguing, him and I, inside the courtroom. We were about 15 to 20 people there, including my wife. And I'm saying to show how hostile and out of control it is. It was 2004. All of a sudden, the black lawyer told him, hey, don't say nothing to him no more. Just tell the judge he won't cooperate. And so the lawyer got up there and walked toward the criminal court clerk. One of the clerks must have asked him something. And when the clerk seemed to ask him, what was all that about? The lawyer said out loud, no disrespect, but he said, I don't know what that motherfucker talking about. And I told him, I ain't no motherfucker. Next thing I know, Carolyn Blackett came out, and the lawyers approached the bench, and she told me that she would notify me further about my case. So, in essence, she recused from representing me, being the lawyer hearing the case. The case then went to Judge Bennett's courtroom. Judge Bennett read the post-conviction. He recused himself. Then it went to Judge Axley in Division 6. He recused as well. And so it finally came in Judge Chris Crabb courtroom. That's the courtroom where I got railroaded at. Judge Crabb denied my post-conviction appeal. And so I've been fighting all the way up to 2008, fighting this false charge. I got in touch until, December 19, 2017. I got a letter from Tony Carruthers. Tony Carruthers on death row. And Tony Carruthers had found out that, because I've been sending information everywhere, he found out the same guy, the confidential informant CI, Alfredo Shaw, that testified against him in 1996, had testified against me also in 1997. And so Carruthers sent some information that his attorney had gotten from the Shelby County District Attorney General's office. the attorney Dept Feathered. She turned over a discovery packet, and the discovery packet that Tony Carruthers sent from the Shelby County District Attorney's Office had the dates of all the drug transactions, the money drug transactions that this Alfredo Shaw had made from 1991 until 1998. I was convicted for selling drugs on January 22nd, 1997. They accused me of selling, 307 grams for $850. Well, that redacted form that Carruthers has sent me did not have a payment date for January 22nd. It did not have the money, the $850 that I was supposed to receive. It wasn't there. The date wasn't there, the money wasn't there. Proving total innocence. This was the evidence that the Sheriff Department compliance officer, the Shelby County Attorney, proved my innocence. And so when he gave me that information, I said, well, this here could prove total innocence. And so that motivated me to get into the courts. Still could not find an attorney to do it. And so I filed a writ of Nobis. I filed this writ under the Brady Law. Evidence that I now have was never made available to me. And I want, to present it to the court. I asked for an expedited hearing. So I filed a writ on October the 29th, October 29th, 2018. No response was given concerning my writ, and I wrote my writ as professional as I know how. But they refused to give me a response concerning this new evidence. And since they didn't give me a response, and today is today is February the 4th, I know that they are not planning on giving me a fair hearing. Because I got evidence to prove my innocence, but they refused to even send me a response. And so I have decided to file a motion of default judgment against the Shelby County DA's office. I believe right now they violated my Sixth Amendment to the Constitution, which give me the right of self-representation. I timely filed this motion for the writ. I timely filed it October 29th. And so, in my opinion, if the Shelby County District Attorney General's office is obligated to at least give me an answer. Although I know they can't give me an answer because they know everything was false in the first place. But I wondered why would the clerk office hold my writ this long without taking it to the District Attorney General or to the courts. Because they did not give me an answer from my October the 29th Writ of Corum Nobis, I decided to file a writ of default judgment. I supposed to at least get an answer. And so I received a letter, dated January the 16th. The letter came from the clerk's office. The letter stated that I was to appear February 11th in Division 8, or if I didn't, I would be arrested. That kind of floored me because I hadn't had no activity in criminal court since 2004. And I'm the one that's initiating this because I'm the one got new evidence. So I wondered, why are they trying to put the wording in that I'm gonna be threatened to be locked up? They would rather, they got enough nerve to say that they would lock me up rather than to even give me a response to my allegation. So I know that is conflict. I know something wrong when they're going to turn around and try to arrest me for seeking justice. And so that's why I decided to file this motion for default on this writ. I should have had an answer. They're not treating me, they're not giving me my rights as being self-represented. And so right now they got me scheduled to go in 2 courtrooms. I was supposed to go this writ to your trial court, which would be Division 3. Chris Craft was my post-conviction courtroom. But Craft, the former DA, want to at least hear this case. I've been before Craft before. Craft gave me 10 days for contempt of court. That didn't happen. Now in Division 3, that's Bobby Carter, and he is also a former prosecutor over the drug case. He's conflicted too. But right now they got me divided. They got me coming to court and got me, they got to make an appearance. On one hand, they got me appearing in Division 8, the letter from the clerk's office. But the other document got me coming in Division 3. And so they got me on paper coming into 2 courts for October the 29th. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to be there in Division 8, and I'm going to see if they're going to hear my new evidence. I've been trying to retain counsel, but like I said, in Tennessee, that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, even with new evidence. But all I can do is stay prayerful, and hopefully things turn out the way they should take. I'm gonna cut it right there. Yeah.
Are you done?